Welcome to episode 3 of trying to locate this mystery skater with Tony Hawk. Now, I ended the last episode locating the only 2 names from the Life magazine article from New York. I emailed Peter, who's the boy in these photos, just to verify. And within the hour, Peter responded by saying, "Yeah, that's me and my mom." That's amazing. We're now in contact with someone that was actually there the day of the shot. I then asked Peter to tell me anything that he remembers from that day. And he responded with, "Find the woman in the dark glasses and you'll find the other subject. She was the only producer or equivalent. She set up the shot. My mom had never been on a skateboard prior to this day and never touched one since." Now, Peter's wife then forwarded my email to his sister Anne, just to see what she would say. And Anne said this: "The hill is the path of the 79th and 5th entrance to Central Park. A reporter happened to be there. It was daytime, just another day in the park. Likely a weekend, not summer, because I was at sleepaway camp all summer." That's huge. We now can confirm this was absolutely not summer at any time, because had it been summer, Anne wouldn't have been there. So springtime's confirmed. She also said, "I was on the other side holding her hand. The woman laughing in the background was the reporter. Don't know man in black. Estelle's outfit had light blues and yellows." This is awesome information. We just learned that this woman in the background is not just a bystander that was watching. She was the one that was writing this article and organized this shot. We now have a new person to look into. Peter said she set the shot up, meaning the possibility that these photos were staged is very real. This mystery skater could have very well been a plant. He could have been a model. He could have just been somebody walking by that was dressed nicely and they asked if they could take a photo of him skateboarding. All of that is now in the realm of possibilities. But here's where I went next. Skateboards back in 1965 had these little clay wheels. They were brutal. And the smallest pebble or crack that you ran over, you were going flying forward right onto your face. The steering wasn't even that easy, which is why in these photos, you see all these kids riding these boards in alternate ways, from sitting down to on their stomach to grabbing onto each other. Riding the skateboard how it was intended to ride, like this guy, wasn't the easiest thing to do. This guy's smooth with it. He's leaning into the turns. But he's even so comfortable that at one point, he's got his hands in his pockets, which with those little clay wheels, insanely risky, because you have nothing to catch your fall other than your face. I believe that this guy knew how to ride a board. And that doesn't necessarily mean a skateboard, but just any board sport. Back in 1965, surfing was huge. So I brought this theory to Tony and I said, "Do you know anybody in the surf world that you can show these photos to just to see if they recognize this face at all?" Tony mentioned that his brother Steve was a former editor of Surfer magazine, so he's now working with his brother to see if anybody in the surf community recognizes this face. We also went through all the surfers that were competing in the 1965 Surf Championship in Hawaii, and there's no matches yet. Next, I took these photos and ran them through a reverse image search, but I quickly started running into a problem. You see, these photos are so famous that anytime I try to reverse image search any of them, I just keep getting the same photos from Bill Epridge back in 1965. It's a loop, so I need to change some things. I brought this photo into Photoshop, and I removed his glasses just enough that you could see his eye features. Next, I removed his hat using AI, which I want to point out, anytime you introduce AI to photos, the authenticity is completely gone. And it's important you guys know that. In this case, AI was not used to change his face, but it was simply used to remove his hat. And it doesn't matter how realistic it looks, we have to get rid of that black fedora hat, because if we don't, it's iconic to this photo, and it just keeps us in that loop of the same results. Next, I zoomed in and darkened his mouth and whitened his teeth. This guy does have a gapped smile, which is amazing for our search because that's pretty notable when you see somebody. I then took this new image, ran it through a reverse image search, and immediately started getting better results. We were finally out of that loop. In fact, the results that we're getting, there was a number of people that looked like our skateboarder. But when I looked further into them, they didn't check out just yet. Next, I spent some time colorizing these photos. The idea is that I could put it out there to you guys, and just maybe that helps with something. These aren't the exact colors of the photos, but it's a ballpark as to what this would have looked like at the time. Now, going back, Peter's sister did say Estelle's outfit had light blues and yellows. So using that information, I colorized this photo as well to what it sort of would have looked like based off of those colors. Now, I followed up with Central Park Conservancy and New York City Parks Department, and here's what I learned. Central Park only started keeping its own records in 1980, which means everything before that goes to the New York City Parks Archives Department. I spoke with them for a bit, explained everything that we're doing here, and I sent them over everything that I had. They then said, "Okay, great. It's gonna take 8 to 10 business days for us to turn this around just to see if we can find anything." So just so you guys know, that is still ongoing. Next, I wanted to look as to why this photo was so iconic, and it's his outfit. Had he been wearing regular clothes that day, this photo wouldn't have been nearly as famous. He has on a tailored suit and a black fedora hat, but there's more things happening here. In the 1960s, any form of stubble or 5 o'clock shadow was often portrayed on TV as somebody that's intoxicated, lazy, is given up, or down on their luck. You didn't see people with stubble like that. What you did see were a lot of sideburns and prominent mustaches. There was no in-between. So stubble like this and a tailored suit were not often seen together. They represented two different ends of the spectrum. One of them was success, and the other one portrayed defeat. So because of that, we can likely cross off any high-position jobs. Now, I've seen a lot of comments saying he's dressed like a blues brother, or that's DB Cooper. And even though I know that these are meant to be jokes, they're actually really great observations. DB Cooper didn't jump from the plane until 1971, and the Blues Brothers movie wasn't made until 1980. So neither of those would have been inspiration as to why this guy dressed this way. This isn't cosplay. This would be authentic to maybe who he was or where he hung out. Now, this style was popular in the jazz and blues community. I spent a couple hours looking through the jazz scene in New York City in 1965, and I haven't found anybody yet that looks like him. I really wanted to know about his style. Both the mystery skater and a lot of the people in the background are dressed nicely. They've got button-ups, they're wearing ties, their shirts are tucked in, they got dress shoes. This wasn't standard casual attire for the 60s. Seeing that this was likely in April and also a weekend, it's possible that this was Easter Sunday in 1965. Think about it, what better time for Bill Epridge to go to Central Park, where everyone's going to be casually walking around dressed nicely, than Easter Sunday. Now, in 1965, Easter Sunday fell on April 18th. But based off of some weather records, April 18th, 1965 appears to have been a cloudy day. And it was even considered cold to very cold. So that doesn't check out either. That's where things are at right now. Now, we're closing in on different areas, which is all a part of the process. And once we start to see that this guy could fit in multiple areas, we can start to formulate a theory that might actually make sense. Guys, this is by far the hardest search I've ever had to do. I don't expect it to be easy, and I don't expect it to be overnight. But with the help of Tony Hawk, his name and his brand, as well as all of you guys, it not only opens up a ton of doors, but we're being seen by a lot of people that might actually say, hey, you know, I know this guy. So the search continues. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like and follow for more fun videos like this and to stay up to date with this search. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. See you guys later.